How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Daddy Dave, and this is a top 5 maps by continent series. This is the second of the series for the continent of Australia and Oceania. Now, why did I decide to do this series? Well, I wanted to recognize more maps than what was allowed in my top 10 maps that I recorded several months ago. And there's just so many good maps out there that deserve the spotlight. They really are amazing maps, but I felt that there was too much of a constriction of trying to find the best of the best for that top 10, in my opinion. So this kind of forced me to be able to look at each individual region, and then it would naturally pull those other maps that didn't quite make the cut in the top 10 to now being able to be displayed and put into the spotlight. So how did I go about categorizing and doing all this? Well, I went through the mod hub and looked at every single map that was available. As I'm going through the map, I'm going through the descriptions to see if there's anything that indicates whether it was intended to be or explicitly said to be a country, a state, a whatever that was a part of a given continent, that I could just pinpoint exactly where it was based on the description. If I could figure that out, then it went to that continent. If I couldn't figure out based on the description, I would then go through the photos, the screenshots, and to see if I could find a flag or anything that would be a clear sign or indication that it was intended to be that country, that region, that whatever. Again, if I was able to find something, it would then get swept into the categorization of the continent. But there were some that either were non-descriptive, didn't say, whatever the case may be, and those got their own category of unspecified. So I'm going through all the continents and one additional series, or one additional entry into the series for those that just could not be determined based on the description and photos. So this being the Australia and Oceania, unfortunately we don't have enough to make a top 5. So we'll start with number 3. Southern Cross Station. This is what Southern Cross Station looks like. The card itself. And right off the bat, I'm going to say this is a lovely map. It has some really awesome sight lines, and the starting farm is massive. You got lots of space to work with. You've got big fields. If I expand the map, you've got massive fields in the north, a couple of medium-sized fields in the south, big cluster down in the south of all like the city town kind of area for you to do all your business with. This map had tons of potential, tons and tons of potential, and I'll be honest with you, if there were 3 more maps, 3 more, this would never have made it. Even after singing all that praise right up front, this map would never have made it. And I'm saying that with confidence because if I come down here, we'll start here. You can already start to see it right there in the background. If I start to shimmy around, look at all that. See how everything's flickering and disappearing and doing all that? This is a huge bug that has never been fixed. This map has been out for quite some time. It was one of the first maps that have been loaded onto the mod hub, really. It wasn't the first, but it was certainly up there, and has received no updates and no love since it was dropped. And it is such a shame because you've got these monster facilities. If I pan out here, you got these huge facilities that took so much time. You could tell they took so much time to be able to make and to produce and all that. Like if I come over, is it this one? Yeah, same thing here. If we kind of look over in this direction, you eventually find a spot where just things start to disappear. Alright, I know it's here. Alright, might not be this facility. But anyways, you saw it at the first one and how it reacted. And it's just, again, it's just a shame because there's these monster facilities. You could tell they spent a ton of time making these. And it was just like, once it was done, they were done. And it's a real shame. A real shame because this map had a ton of potential. Like, I mean this. Like, oh, there it is. Okay. I knew I saw, or saw stuff like that. And it's almost like a shader or something, maybe? I don't necessarily know. But you can see, look at all that. Look at all that just missing until I come right up on it, and then all of a sudden it's there. Again, you got, there it is. So, it's a shame. It's just a real shame. But this one is number 3 on the list for that very reason. Number 2, Western Australia. And this is what this map looks like. And you can see, again, this map is very stunning at times. Like, you've got this starting farm that just houses these massive barns, massive equipment, because this is a farm for the large equipment, or this is a map for large equipment. You can see back on the map, these fields are not small in the slightest. I think the smallest one is yeah, I think that one there. And yeah, I mean, compared to the rest of them is just a baby compared to the rest of them. But this map is deceptively basic. And what I mean by that is it's got everything the map needs. And it's very laid out in a way where you can very easily get to and from places. It's not like overly complicated. You don't have a complicated road network. You know, you basically got one main road right here that runs right through the map and into town just over here. And you can see all of it is kind of lined up right here. Other than that, the only other place of interest is up here in the northeast, and that's the grain mill. So you got your main farm with all the stuff right here and the town. That's it. I mean, if I go ahead and just teleport here, you can see, again, there's stuff going on here. You can see that there's a lot of like business going on here, but the rest of the map is just empty. Very much empty. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it's deceptively simple. It's you got your cotton production right here. You got sell points. You got everything you need. Everything you need as a basic starting point. And as you grow, as you do more and more, you can make the map grow. You can actually go ahead and, purchase this land and, build into some of these fields, take some of these fields out, extend out this area, do whatever you want to do, really. That's the real cool thing about this map in particular, is that you've got options. So that, yeah. The only about negative thing I could say about this, and again, I've never been to Australia, so I don't know if this is like absolutely authentic or anything like that. I'm going to presume that it is. But I'm not huge on overly flat maps. That's a personal thing. I prefer to have a bit of undulation. Now, there is some at the starting farm, but it's not a ton of undulation. It's kind of like little bumps here and there. but I prefer maps where the line of sight is broken, where there's things that kind of take away from your vision going so far into the distance. Otherwise, you get kind of like the map edge that you can see from any point of the map, and it's not the greatest. Now there is some, again, there is some undulation. It's not an entirely flat map, but it's just not enough. And that might be very much the way that, you know, Australia is, and I am complaining about nothing. And if that's the case, then I more than accept that as fact and be happy with it. But again, for personal preference, I'm not a huge fan of the more flat maps. There are some rare exceptions though. But that is why this one's number 2. Number 1, Old Kiwi Farm. And this is the map for this one. And this is a really solid map. I really enjoy this map. There are some pluses, there are some minuses to this map. Now, starting with the pluses, the starting farm, you've got tons of space to be able to kind of open things up and kind of do things in addition to what is here. You don't have to be limited to what's here at the starting farm. And as you can see, you start out with just this plot right here for the starting farm, but you could easily expand this or use some of these areas that are placeable areas for an expansion on your farm. It's well built and well designed. And take a look at the patina that is on like some of the buildings and your silo. Like that's pretty cool. Like it just makes it look used and aged. Like you could tell that this farm was built a long time ago. Now what I will say is a negative towards this is, again, here at the starting farm, and look at the picket fence here. You've got the just kind of slapped together picket fence that's just, it's seen its days. Now, what I don't necessarily care about this map is this. You can see this very nice modern building where none of the other buildings have that kind of modern look to them for the most part. They're all like the kind of rundown and older looking. You've got this huge cow barn with a feeding robot, and it just doesn't seem to be like in place kind of thing. Like it just seems to stand out really bad. Now people could make the argument that yeah, it's new and they just put it in, spent whatever kind of money to put it in. Sure, that could absolutely be the case, but in my opinion it just really stands out. You know, you've got the really nice house, like the house even to a certain degree kind of stands out because of how nice it looks in comparison to everything else, but even still, it's still got age to it. You can see how the wood is supposed to look like it has distress and age, and like it's not intended to be new. So I'm supposed to believe that the cows get a nice new house before the farmer does. I don't know. It just something I observed, and does not take away from the rest of the map at all. And let me show you some of the highlights. So if we come over to, let's start right here at the dairy. Normally, for anybody who's followed me for any amount of time, people will know that I don't necessarily care for when map makers use the standard in-game productions and buildings and things like that. The only time I find there being an exception is when the area that the original productions or original buildings were used has been dressed up in some way. And I feel like that has been addressed here. And how is that? It's one, it's on a kind of rock, dirt kind of area. It's not just a flat slab of concrete that's looked to been poured. I mean, you even got bumps and waves in and around the building. But even better than that, it's like carved into the sides of the earth. Like it's not like you can get the impression that this area was just recently cleared out. The building was put in. It's been here for a while because it's got the patina on it. It's got the kind of dirt and grime. Same thing over here. You've got this kind of area that looks to have been built up purposefully for the grain facility right here. You can see this kind of high-rise area that's just been mounded up and then compacted and leveled. And why can't I jump? Why can I not jump? There we go. But it's been compacted and leveled to put this building in. And again, it's got the patina that's been here a while. This has all been here for quite some time, but it just looks like this area was developed for this building rather than just having some kind of flat ground placeable area, to just plunk down something. Like even the placeable areas for the most part have that same kind of like carving and just kind of purpose built, like you're intended to put something here and that they're preparing for whatever it is to be put in and that it's brand new kind of thing. Like it's one of those, it's a kind of a cool feature, like to me personally. Like if I come down, was it the spinnery? There's one area in particular. Yeah, like you got this fencing all around the spinnery here. That kind of dresses up the area. Yeah, it's still open. It's still kind of just plunked right here. But there's enough undulation. There's enough imperfections to make it less of blah like some maps can have, where the area that the already established placeable or building is placed, it's just so flat and so pristine that it just doesn't look like, not, I don't want to say it doesn't look appropriate, but it doesn't look like it's lived in. It just looks too new almost. Here's another area here where again you've kind of got it carved into the earth and just really kind of sprawled out. And again, you can build up these areas, which is nice. You've got enough area here, and again, you can purchase them. It's not that you can't do anything with them. They're available to purchase. I'm trying to find the facility in particular that has a good example of this. Is it this one over here? Yes. Okay, here we go. You can see this huge kind of quote-unquote cliff face right here, where I think there's a road right behind it. Or no, that's the placeable area right behind it. Here's the road. It's over back here. And you can see it's just kind of carved into the area to where, yeah, it's flat. It's kind of, plunked, quote unquote. But you still got, like, something that breaks the sightline and makes it kind of appealing. So that's kind of what I see in this map. That's how I kind of take, maps that I really like are the ones where it doesn't have that kind of, well, I'm just going to place this here because it's flat enough to take it kind of thing. And this, although it's that per se, it has the breaking of the line of sight to where it's not just a flat piece of area that, is just kind of boring and drab to look at. So that is why this one, of the 3 maps that are available, this is number 1. But also, one other thing before I sign off here is we come over here again. Like you've got this river that runs through the entirety of the map, and on one side of the river is like the main road network, and the other side is the kind of dirt path area to the logs, like to the sawmill. And one of the kind of key features here is where you can sell the wood. You can put it down here and have it as like a mill pond kind of thing, and you can see the sell wood triggers there, but you also have a area here that you can sell wood. So you could just come drive over this and do the sell wood and you'd be done, and that's fine. But this is an actual selling point. This is not a part of the production. So if you just want to sell your lumber, dump it into here and you're good to go. Or if you want to buy the production, sell it there, or manufacture the planks and whatnot, you can do it there too. But I like how it's just kind of carved and just, again, it feels like people have worked to put things here. And it's really nice. And you kind of cut through this real thick forest with this huge kind of canopy of trees over top of you to get to it. It's just, there's a lot of really cool features on this map, a lot of really nice sight lines, and there's no real area that is like just flat and kind of goes on forever. Like the sights get broken up through the undulations, and the color palette's real nice. Like there's just so much going for this map. Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that this one got the love it deserved. And this is a perfect example. This map here is a perfect example why I did this series, is that this did not make it into the top 10 that I previously did, but it still deserves for it to have a shout out in some way, shape, or form, and that's why I did this series. But that's why this is number 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things the algorithms enjoy you doing. That shows you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.